ウィリアムズ C シャープ&エンジニアリングウォークスルーズ、ようこそ。
Okay, I think I'm live. What's up guys? Welcome to the live stream. This is William C-Sharp Engineering Walkthroughs. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. And today's episode is going to be quite interesting. I'm going to walk through the Vanguard engine. So I'm going to talk about how I am building a set of libraries in order to help developers, particularly C-Sharp developers, for us to build game modes, 2D game modes in particular. 3D can be a thing for the future. Obviously that would probably... 3D wasn't require something like DirectX APIs. We're not there yet, so we're sticking on the C-Sharp domain, right? Excellent stuff. So, we're going to get started with the live stream. I hope all my levels are okay. Going to have a quick check. I think my levels are fine. Check my desktop audio quickly. Yeah, it's looking good. Okay, I think it's going to be quite a fun episode. So, my live streams are always quite chilled. It's all pretty, you know, front and forward, you know. I kind of get on with things and do the coding. I want to show you guys some of the progress that I got to whilst I was off screen after yesterday's live stream. Basically, I was building the libraries such that we could have simple scene support. So, for those of you who are maybe just tuning to my stream, to the series for the first time, Vanguard Library is a C-Sharp set of classes that help C-Sharp developers build 2D games. So, you know, the pain points, the drawing routines, animation routines, the control logic, even like audio engine stuff, yeah? These things should all be handled by the underlying library. And what should result is that us as developers should be able to pick up Vanguard Engine, open up a simple, it's all in UWP, so a main page file. Literally, in one main page, so I'm on the main page of XAML.cs file, have like one block or so of code, and we have a simple scene. So the idea of Vanguard Engine, I want it to be that a lot of the heavy lifting, the pain points are all done in the library, in the class libraries. So we're just calling the functionality. And that's what I've achieved here so far at a very basic level, I could say. So the Vanguard library, let me open my Solution Explorer and show you guys what's going on under the hood. My Visual Studio is running UWP right now, so this is the session. And I'm going to just demonstrate the sprite that I was able to get to load on the screen. So the fundamentals are kind of set. This is a Vanguard core library. And we have our classes, our set of classes over here. Now, where we left off yesterday is that I was working towards building the overall model and interfacing the model to the project scope, right? I can see that Visual Studio is hanging up a little bit. I'm a bit worried about that. That's good, man. I know if I click the screen, it's going to go grey. So hopefully everything will just hang on. Let's go. Usually when I do this, it just kind of wakes up Visual Studio. Hopefully it won't, you know, disappear. But anyway, as Visual Studio is fixing itself, what happened yesterday is that I was trying to fix some of the Z buffer stuff, I think, if I'm not mistaken, because obviously when you draw a scene, everything's in order on this on the screen. So you have like your background, you have your foreground, right? And what I was trying to do, there was a small bug which I actually managed to fix. There was one line of code that was a line of code that was superfluous. I got rid of that line of code. You can even see it here on line 37. I know that Visual Studio is hanging up for some reason. It's just super long. My setup is a bit underpowered, unfortunately. I don't know why it's trying to load this. That's probably because I clicked it. Let me go back. Oh my goodness. So here we go. The joys of live streaming. Anyway, just kidding around. So this line of code was a pain point. Because what happened? Everything was already working yesterday. Like, I was working through the data flow to get the scenes up and running, and it was already working. I over-engineered it by one line of code here. Oh yeah, that was it. I was trying to pass, there's an argument. So basically there's a canvas animator control. And our canvas animator control is basically the viewport of our 2D world. And I was trying to get a draw argument so that I can draw on the screen, right, on every frame of animation. And I over-engineered it. The library was taking care of that under the hood. But then I had this extra line of code where I was trying to globalize the the argument, the canvas animator control event argument. I commented it out. I gave the respective parameters to my bounding rect struct, and I was able to get a sprite on the screen. So I'm going to demonstrate that. So the way it works, everything is initialized under the hood in terms of the canvas animator control. But then to actually build the scene, I'm going to hit this button, and it looks really simple, and it is. But this sprite might just look like a PNG image on the screen that just appeared. But what's actually happening is that Win2D is drawing this image, and I am calling the libraries from project scope. You know, all the heavy lifting, the animation, that's actually animating, that picture is animating at 60 frames per second, according to the documentation. Even though it looks like one still image that's not moving, it's 60 frames per second. This is refreshing right now. And we don't see a draw loop here. Visual Studio is hanging up a little bit. We don't see a draw loop. We don't see an update loop. All we see here is our resources being initialized, our event handlers being initialized, which is somewhere down here. Where is it? Here. We've got our resources event handler, our update typed event handler, and draw typed event handler, all being initialized. The respective update, draw, and resources methods are being hooked, as you can see over here. So resources are being loaded, draw and update has been initialized, and we have an image on the screen. So it's really good stuff. This is episode 5 from complete and absolute scratch. If you go to episode 1, you'll see what I mean. We started from nothing. We didn't even code in episode 1. We just went through the OOP theory, if you recall. So what we're going to do today is that we're going to, now that we have the scene up and running, and when I say scene, I use the term loosely. It's just an image on the screen, but we're drawing, and it's not just we're drawing according to the Vanguard data flow. So let me just take a sip of my tea. I'm quite excited about this. It reminds me of Parallax Engine, but this is like another level above Parallax Engine, this Vanguard core library, because all the heavy lifting is done in the class library scope. That's what makes this different to my Parallax Engine, which I'm quite pleased about. In fact, speaking of Parallax Engine, let me see if I can find the right window. Guys, I'm not gonna talk about this too much, but I'm starting a new project. I've already started a new project. I don't know if I thought I had my company name. So I run a company, Sekai Recruitment, but I'm looking to start games development stuff. You know, like to really make it kind of official. So I'm thinking I might put a poll out on the channel. But basically, I've already sort of unofficially started this game studio called Atadashi Studios, and I'm gonna look at making some open source projects. I'm gonna put some stuff in the community tab to see what the interest is about that. But if any of you are C# developers or developers in general, and you're kind of interested in like open source game collaboration stuff, let me know when I put up some of the updates on the community tab. I don't have anything pertaining towards Atadashi Studios on my website, but I do have some Parallax Engine stuff. So obviously from my previous workshops, as you can see, I featured some of the content here. When I was building this framework, I was doing it live. You know, I did it in one of my Let's Code walkthroughs. And it's funny because I had this Parallax Engine UWP version 1 coming up, which is basically for RPG. This is what Vanguard is now. Vanguard is the RPG game framework, which we're building now. Parallax Engine is more like for fighting games. I would say I'm still building this website, and I just want to quickly add before we jump to the code, is that if you want to check out the Parallax Engine, feel free. The community edition is completely free. Like it's just source files, but I'm gonna put an update after I update the website because I would prefer you guys to play with the Vanguard engine. It's going to be a lot more polished, but the website is here, it's up and running, and it's live. CSharp snippet store. So I'll see if I can leave a link in the description if not already, so check it out. It's quite fun. Yeah, enough of that for now. Let's get into the meat of the potatoes. Let's get into like the core stuff of this workshop. Alright, sweetness. Let me just check my OBS. I'm just not sure if everything's running. Yeah, I think everything's fine. Sweetness. Alright, so what is the agenda for today? Let's go to my agenda section as I typically do. Okay, so I'm going to start marking things off because now that we have a simple scene up and running, i.e. we have drawn to the screen an image. Let me just close my UWP session. We're drawing to the viewport based on the data flow. So I'm going to start crossing some things out here so we know what we're doing. So build the core DLL class structures. I'm still going to leave that open because we're still building the class structures overall. So this is like the main overarching agenda. Excuse me. I should be able to build a simple scene via the Vanguard core.dll libraries for importing asset resources. So that's been done. I'm going to cross that off as completed. What else? Start building the draw logic for making scene visuals for Vanguard core DLL libraries. So the draw logic, I think we just about achieved that. It's at a very rudimentary level, but we've achieved the draw core flow. Animation routine. So it is calling an animation routine. I'll draw your attention, guys, to my animation routine. It's in the library. I love my tea sweet. So this is the animation routine, and it takes in parameters. So it takes in frame rate, desired frame rate of the image. It takes in the animation routine takes into account like a list of sprites, basically, and effectively the range that you want to animate. You might have you might have a sprite sheet of 100 frames, but you want to animate maybe just like 10 frames. So it's like, in a way, I just clocked. This is a way you can batch sprites. In a sense, I can use this animation routine to batch sprites because I could have 1,000 sprites in one list, and I'm only animating 10 dynamically for like let's say for a run cycle, for a player MC character, and then but if I want to do like a jump animation, that can be in the same list construct, but I'm targeting like say from 0 to 9. Now I'm targeting 10 to 19 frames. I didn't consider that, so this is quite interesting. We might be able to play with that a little bit in kind of like sprite batch of one list construct. Ultimately, what's even more impressive is if you have, at the import level, I'm importing a whole atlas of sprites and I'm cropping them. You know, I'm cropping the atlas of sprites and I'm cropping the individual sprite sheets accordingly to need. I think that's even more impressive, but this is still quite cool. So it's the animation routine, and then what you output with is what's known as a canvas bitmap list in this sense. So I'm returning a list, a sprite list. Wait, let me just double check this. Okay, I'm returning the sprite list. But from the list, I'm actually returning not the list itself, but the element within the list. That's why I've got this indexer. I've got the square brackets, which means I'm accessing an element in my list, and that's the frame of animation in focus. So I could be animating my hand like this, but I only want to animate my one finger here at frame 1. It outputs that at the first draw core. Then number 2 outputs at the next draw core, such and so forth. So that's what's going on there. So I'm gonna cross off some of these. So draw core flow, I'm gonna make an indication there. Animation routine is well done in the sense that I've done it long in advance. Scene building from a UWP project a scene building from a UWP project consuming the Vanguard library. We're still working on it. We're still working on this, so I'm not going to cross that off, because scene building could involve assets such as audio, controls, and we're going to use the core window API for controls, so I'm not going to cross this one off just yet. And I was suggesting I could use the content pipeline concept to pass objects to the draw update loops. Yeah, I'm not utilizing my content pipeline class for this. My content pipeline is a little bit over-engineered as a concept. What the idea is that there's this pipeline I want to build, and I might get onto this later. Excuse me. But basically, I don't know if I have the notepad up. Let me see if I got it. Maybe not. Oh, is it there? Where's the model notes? Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. So, I can find the scroll bar. So here's the overall, it's a notepad format, structure of how I'm targeting my Vanguard to the relationship between my Vanguard DLL and like project scope for UWP apps. Vanguard.dll, right? So we have the view domain, which is the iContent pipeline. But really what's going on is that I'm actually just going straight through to the main and data interface layers. The data interface is interface/class. And my data interface class basically has all methods, different features, different functionalities that the models domain does, and I'm just exposing them here as an interface class contract, so that at project scope I can just say like draw an image. I get it from the data interface. The model has like maybe hundreds of methods, and I'm picking just one out of the models domain. That's what the data interface is. That's how I'm organizing the logic here. Yeah, and then at the very bottom, I know my screen, I might be blocking some of the text because of the screen. I'll take a sip of my tea. Then the models is just basically I'm returning the functionality from the view model, and then I'm just kind of bringing it up into drawing it on the screen basically, because it all pertains, all the models pertain towards like interacting with a scene basically. That's what a game is in essence. Excellent. So we'll continue through the agenda so we know what we're doing today. I can implement one command list and zbuffer by default on draw and populate my list at project scope, to build scenes. This is what I kind of tapered off from yesterday. So if we go to the main page.xaml.cs file, this is project scope. So this is like a fresh UWP project basically sitting on top. Well, basically this project is consuming my Vanguard core library. Yeah, so what's going on here? Oh, before I show this, animated draw. So this is the core library. This is Vanguard core library. For the draw core, I don't really need this. Do I need this? If main.args. Do I need this later? No, because this is when I try to globalize my argument. I don't need it. So for Visual Studio. Bracket up. I have a simple draw flag just to like check that all my assets are loaded. This is set to true once resources rather are loaded. And so the way, in order to, typically what you do, maybe I can get the documentation up for this one. According to Win2D's official documentation, excuse me, when you want to build a scene, right? I think I'll go to. Let me go to the first page and let me find the quick start guide, the quick start reference. You set up your XAML, as you can see here. You set up your canvas control in the namespace. You set up your canvas control in a control like a grid, and then you can build your events here if you want to via XAML. I did mine programmatically in CSharp. But basically, where's the draw core? I think I'll find the draw core. This is for canvas animated control. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, so you can literally have all your draw logic, and yeah, all the draw logic will technically be in the canvas draw. And here's the arguments, the canvas control and the event canvas draw event argument. This is not a canvas animated control, this is a canvas control. They're two different controls, but the concept still remains the same. It's just that with a canvas control, there's no draw thread. But with a canvas animated control, there is a draw thread. That's the difference. But the concept is the same. So how do we render like hello world, images, this is a circle and a line? How do we do that if basically we're publishing a library that potentially with our library, we may not be able to even edit this layer. So when you publish a DLL, you may not necessarily be able to access these classes like programmatically as a programmer, as a developer, unless you have the source code, right? But when you publish a DLL, you only have access to what's been exposed at public level, right? Or like, you know, maybe like private functionalities that you expose with public properties, stuff like that. So in order to kind of get around this, what I did, I buffered my assets into what I've dubbed a Z buffer in this context. And this Z buffer can be populated at project scope. Now this is important because when you're in project scope, let's say you have like 100 assets. Let's keep it so simple actually. Let's keep it simple example, tic-tac-toe. Let's say we have noughts, crosses, and a grid. That's it. And you populate the Z buffer, and I populate and I say, okay, Z buffer, I want to populate a noughts, crosses graphics, and a grid graphic. Populate that at project scope, boom. This will eventually, this is not right now because I've only got one element, so I just want to make sure that things work. There will be like a loop here, and the loop will basically iterate for every count of the Z buffer to make sure that I get all the assets I need to load. What will happen eventually is that with the Z buffer, what I'm doing here is I'm passing a command list, and a command list, I know I'm reiterating myself, but it's quite important anyway. The way, because it kind of allows us to keep track of things. My command list is just a list of arbitrary functionalities within my library that I want to just like expose and store in this construct. And it's convenient because I decided I'm going to make a delegate of an animation routine. So my animation routine has been encapsulated via a delegate object. And I stored that in a list called the command list _1. And so the idea is that now that I have this animate sprites routine encapsulated via a command list, I'm passing my command list here for my Z buffer. And I'm setting the parameters. So frame rate is 1, so 1 frame for every draw call. So at 60 frames per second, every frame I'm showing this. So how can I describe this? So if I set that to 2, for example, that means on 2 draw calls I'm showing the same picture. So that's what, like 2 frames, 60 frames per second. So it's not like 2 frames per second per se, maybe, but it's like 2 draw calls, there's the same image. Here, because it's just one picture of my swordswoman, that I dubbed my swordswoman Valkyrie, she's popping up at 1 picture per frame draw call. But because it's one sprite image, it's fine. Set my parameters and such. My render list just basically, for now, it just outputs recs. That's all it does. You input parameters and you construct recs out. That's all it does. If I make that like 1000, then the sprite of Valkyrie will be like 1000 by 1000, isn't it? Okay, what are we going to do today? I want to build upon my workflow and kind of like scale it a little bit pertaining towards my library. So what needs to be done? Building a scene at this point I can achieve, but I want to really work on the library. So let's see. What's this one here? I need to make sure the Z buffer can be implemented correctly to all the scene agents. So yeah, I might work on that as well. I might build a slightly more complex scene. We need to make sure everything's working, fundamentally speaking, before we build that interaction. So I'm going to build a scene with multiple sprites. Maybe I'll have like a background, like a grassy plain or a city. Then I'll place my sprite there as well. So we have like just to prove that the Z order is working. Because right now we just have one picture. We don't know if the Z buffer is actually working or not. Obviously we assume the Z buffer is working, but we need to test it. And then we're going to start adding some physics eventually. I don't know if that'll be today, because what I want to do is the core window first. I want to add controls. And then the physics engine, I debate to myself whether physics should be handled by the library. I think it's well and good for that, because if I'm building a game framework that supports 2D game development, I want to get as many pain points as possible. And because Vanguard Engine caters towards RPGs, the more RPG mechanics I can target, the better. Okay, that's my answer. So before we do core window API, let's test out the Z buffer. Let's really make sure that we're ordering things correctly. So what I'm going to do, I need to look for some new sprites. Before we do that, let's actually import. Let's import Valkyrie's sprite sheet, just for her standing animation. So right now, I'm only importing this one. Oh, goodness me. My computer just freezes a lot. That's okay. My computer's doing fine. So we're going to import 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames of animation. Okay? And we're going to make sure the animation works before we proceed. Okay, how are we going to do this? This needs to... So for us to add animations, the concept is that my library has to be sound. I shouldn't be diving into the library to do this. I should be at project scope. So I reckon, because the fundamentals are done, all I have to do really, and I still might need to tweak the library actually, but I need to call my populate file path list. I need to populate this. Oh, I've already got the folder path. That's fine. So I'm gonna make sure. I need to make a note of the workflow. Let me see. Let me see if I can kind of like reflect the agenda by my tasks, because I need to start crossing off tasks. So before we proceed, good thing I'm here because I need to make a new task. Today's the 20th of June 2026. I know I'm doing a lot of the documentation stuff, but I think it's quite useful to document stuff as I'm going along. I don't always document as I go, but it is a good rule of thumb to like document as I go. Let's see. I fixed this one. I need to fix the interrupt between. So this is fixed. What was going on? I'm gonna make a note of this. My patch notes. So basically, what was going on? I was disposing my argument, but what happened is that draw core event args were being what's going on? So how did I fix this actually? I can't even remember. This one I should have done this yesterday. I should have written it down. Draw core event args are being disposed before my UI thread can consume the object. Let me see, where was I? Well, I think it's because I limited my global reference and I just work with like the parameters on the local scope. I think that's what I did. So because I remember I commented that a line of code that was trying to access a global that was already like a stale global because the draw core already proceeded. So I deleted my I had the global event args so that the UI thread could access the current event args input, something like that. Alright. I need to populate my Z buffer. This is what we're going to do today. I need to populate my Z buffer from project scope so that the draw loop can draw scene assets in order. We're going to do that today. This is going to be a fun test to test my command list. So let's start with this one. Okay, sweet. So I know my project scope is really messy. That's fine for now. It's gonna be a bit messy because I'm really trying to structure the domain logic for my Vanguard. But for now, as you can see, when I'm ready, to build like an actual like a tech demo game, I will have proper folder and like data flow structure for my game. And for that test, for the challenge of building a tech demo, I'm going to publish this library. I'm not going to work from project. I'm going to actually publish the library complete and then start a new UWP project. And then the series will take a turn where I actually build a game concept tech demo with my published library. That's going to be fun because that's the whole idea. Okay, sweet. Let's start coding. So the folder path is set, asset range is 1. Does that pertain to the folder or does that pertain to the sprites? I need to know. I'm going to assume it pertains to the sprites. So I need a more robust way of doing this, but this is fine. And I need to comment my members. But for now, it's going to be kind of like scrappy, the way I'm doing this, as coding is at the beginning stages. So how many sprites do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 0 to 5 is 6, 0 index. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to change my asset range to 6. Set asset 0 index count. What does this do again? I need to comment this as I go because I'm actually forgetting stuff. Let me see. I'm going to need a list of these probably. So, because if we have multiple folders we want to load, so I can have a Valkyrie folder, I can have a background folder, then we're going to obviously need multiple asset ranges, not just one variable, but we're going to get to that. For now, we have to use the same folder for different assets. Okay, set the number of assets. I need to set the number of assets to load. Let me see, folder, destination path. Data interface, set asset 0, index count, Vanguard core main, asset range. Oh, isn't that the same thing? Oh, I'm using it, okay. This is the method, oh okay, I'm just firing the method set asset 0, index count, I'm just setting it. So this is a setter, I think, let me just double check it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Where's the implementation? Go to my implementation class. Where's it gone? Data interface, I can't find it. Yeah, it's just zbuffer. What's it actually doing? Zbuffer list. Index. Oh, it's for the render list. Yeah, for my render list. So this is the index on my render list. So this, if it's for my render list, then this is for one particular sprite sheet. Let me see. One particular sprite sheet is fine. So yeah, it's within the scope of one folder, so that's fine. I'll leave things as that. And because I conveniently named these sprites 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 all the way to that, was that 21 or something? 32. I don't need to like reference the names of the sprites individually, because when you use a for loop, you typically index with numbers. So I'm utilizing the concept of for loops to just toString my index and concatenating a .png text, right? I already showed that, I think, in the previous or so workshop. So what did I change? I just set this to 6. Let's see what happens. Let's make sure everything else is set. Build scene. I'm not sure if it's going to work. Obviously, I need to step through it and debug it if things don't work. Render list is gonna stay the same though. Yeah, because if the destination rec is gonna say, the destination rec has to stay consistent, so that the dimensions of Valkyrie are the same, 200 by 400. The command list stuff. Let me see. Set zbuffer. I'm not using that, but for my own reference, I'm keeping that there for now. Populating my zbuffer. This gets utilized anyway, so I don't need to do anything. I'm actually using it in the models domain in my library. So I thought I had to do it here, but nah, it's actually being handled already. I'm gonna check my draw logic. and just see. I need to make sure my parameters are okay. My parameters have to be dynamically set here. I can't hard code things. So I need to update that soon, because what ends up happening is that this draw core has to be left alone with just default values. Default values that can be updated, say. Because right now I'm looking at the one commandless object, but I do need to make that dynamic. We'll get to that. Animationless, it remains the same, because it's one set of it's one animation set for Valkyrie's idle animation. Assets, what's this again? Once this is the first sprite sheet imported. So I'm gonna run the program. I think I'm ready. Well, I'm gonna set a breakpoint somewhere. I want to see how many sprites I'm importing. If I'm importing 6 sprites, let's do that here. Maybe here actually on the draw core. Where would I see that? Under the assets. This should say assets. I think it'll be here. I could use the set of the resources scope, you know, on the scope of my animate resources, but I kind of don't want to like step the logic through, because sometimes when you debug on that domain, when it comes to like loading resources, the threading can get a little confused. I've noticed from experience. So I'm gonna load this up. I'm gonna quickly check comments, see if anyone's saying that. Okay, so my UWP session is loading. I'm gonna give that a minute. My Visual Studio. Check for comments. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Oh my gosh, wait, hold on. Did I switch the scenes? Yeah, I did. Oh my goodness, let me test this. Guys, can you actually see me? Because on my YouTube Studio, it's showing the splash screen. Let me test it. It's showing the splash screen. Okay, sweet, I'm good. Let me just mute this. I had to check. My YouTube Studio is just lagging a little bit behind. That's fine. Oh, excellent. Thank you. Thanks for confirming there. I see your comment. I saw your comment there, dude. Yeah, my YouTube Studio is just a little bit behind. So anyway, I'm gonna switch now to Visual Studio. What's it saying? My build has started. Excellent. And yeah, so what am I doing now? Gonna make sure that my sprite sheet's been imported. So I'm gonna make sure we should see a number 5 or 6 elements. 0 index for these sprites. If that doesn't show up, then that means something in my data flow isn't referencing the parameters correctly, and I'm gonna have to fix that. So first we need to just run the program, fire up our draw core, and make sure things are running. So I'm just gonna wait for Visual Studio. I'll highlight this actually. Let's do the other. Actually, I'll highlight that. So once we confirm our Z buffer is working, oh, we're not doing that yet. We're actually just testing the animation routine, and then it's gonna be fun, because then it gets interesting when we're loading animated resources in order. So that's what we're gonna get to, making more interactive dynamic scenes. So yeah, I'm just waiting for my Visual Studio session to load up my UWP project. Let me see. Let me just read ahead of my tasks and stuff, see what needs to be done. Oh yeah, the core window API. We need to implement this. This is not too difficult. It's a few lines of code. It just allows my keyboard to be, it allows the program to catch what keyboard inputs I'm pressing, and then we can build a simple input parser. Because if we're building like what am I about to say? If we're building an action RPG, then you might want like an input buffer system. I did that for one of my projects for Parallax Engine. One of my Parallax Engine projects was a tech demo of a girl in like a checkered background. I've had a few projects like that actually, a couple. And like a fighting game, is like input timing windows, so that needs its own like subroutine to sort that out. You know, I could catch keyboard inputs, but I have to actually work on the buffer windows because like a light punch might be like 2 frame, a medium, let's say a dash attack might be like 10 frames, so you gotta like compute all of these parameters and stuff like that. Okay, my Vanguard UWP project is loading up. Just waiting. I wonder how long this project will take until I publish a build. I don't think it will take too long. It depends how much I work off screen as well, because on screen my streams are like hour to 2 hours, maybe 40 minutes to an hour plus. But because I have a lot of source code and like experience building these like 2D frameworks, I wonder. I don't know. I don't think it will take that long to get like a beta build up, but something I was considering. Alright, so we're going to build our scene and just see what happens. So we're going to hit our draw core logic, probably. Here we go. I'm going to step into, because I want to evaluate my assets list. So I'm going to step in to the next line of code. And I'm going to hit back. Because what I want to do, I want to see if I can expose this. Usually you have to step out of that line to expose it. Let me go on my locals. You might not expose it yet. Well, the good news, I can already see. I appreciate it's quite hard to see, guys, because the text is really small. I can't really zoom in on this window actually, but there's a count of 6. Oh, but that's just a parameter, which I set animations per frame. Oh, no, sorry guys, I'm reading the wrong thing. So yeah, canvas bitmap list. So my list of canvas bitmap objects is counting 6. That's excellent. Good news already. But is it 6 of the same images? We gotta test that. But good news so far, we have our sprites imported, it seems, at least 6 frames of animation. And that's 0 to 50 index. So we're gonna continue. So since I've confirmed that, I don't really have to look at assets, but I will check. There's a count of 2 for some reason. Ah, I see. So I think one of my input parameters is wrong, because I had an input parameter of 1. But did I increase it to 2? Oh no, it was 0 or 1. Anyway, so we have like, basically what this is saying is that there are 2 sprite sheets. And one sprite sheet has 6 frames, which this is Valkyrie's animation. This should be Valkyrie's animation, we need to test it. I'm not sure what this is. This must be an indexing issue that's causing a superfluous sprite sheet to be constructed. There's nothing actually inside it in this list. So I anticipate, if my sprite sheets are loaded correctly, it might be blinking on the screen. Because there's like a superfluous sprite sheet. I have no idea. All I'm going to do, I'm going to just like check it out. I'm quite excited to see what's going to happen. Valkyrie might animate, she might not. It depends if I did it right. Here we go. Yeah, so she's animating at like 1 frame per draw call at a 60 frame mouthful. I'm animating Valkyrie 60 frames per second with 1 image per draw call, so it's quite fast. Yeah, that's pretty chill. She's not blinking, so I don't have a problem with superfluous sprite list. I'm actually targeting that one sprite, her one sprite list. And what's very fun about this, so it's basically 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's fun about what I just did here, I just changed 1 line of code with 1 index. This is what I want. This is what I'm literally trying to build. This is what I mean by eliminating the pain points of 2D game development, because what I did there to add an asset, and this is funny, in my Parallax engine it wasn't like this. In my Parallax engine source code, that's what I was saying earlier, guys. Hold up. I mean, excuse me. Download Parallax Engine if you want to, but just know that the Vanguard engine is going to be in the next level. It's going to be a lot less frustrating to code on top of Vanguard than Parallax. Because what I did earlier is I just changed that 1 to 6, and I imported assets. You know, that's what I'm looking for. This is what people want. People want to be able to write a prompt and have a game come out. That level of abstraction. So we're trying to get a little bit close to that 1 to infinity abstraction, 1 to 1,000 abstraction. You know, 1 input to 1,000 output kind of thing. But obviously I'm still working in the coding scope here. I'm not talking about vibe coding per se. I'm just using vibe coding as an example. Let's try and slow the animation down. Ah, see, now that's the thing, guys. This is what I'm talking about when I said that things have to be dynamic. I'm going to set those dynamic parameters now because I really like the feel of just working on project scope. So my data flow, I'm working through the main. When really I should be working through my data interface. I won't lie. But the main, so to make things simple, I have like fields in the main. I have functions in the data interface. And obviously my models domain has like everything else, like all the functionality. Yeah, I'll keep it that way for now. I like it. Let's go to my main in my Vanguard core library. Let's just like comment out a section for animations. Animation members. That's the asset range, which I changed to 6 at runtime, I believe. So if I'm talking about, oh yeah, so speed, public static int. Let's just say animation speed. Set that to 0 by default. Oh, we need upper limits of the sprite sheet and upper and lower limits of my sprite sheet. So what I'm trying to do now is just kind of like generally modularize these magic numbers. I have magic numbers in my draw core and I'm trying to take them out. So public static int, let's say like sprite sheet upper limit. Sprite sheet. Let's just say lower limit. Lower bounds actually. Lower bounds index 0. Oops. Oh wait. Oh gosh. I'll just wait for Visual Studio to catch up. And then I have public static int. If Visual Studio will catch up. VS. I'm not too sure what's going on there. Sprite sheet. All I wanted to do was just copy and paste and change lower to upper. Sweet. Sprite sheet upper bounds index. So now we should be able to use these parameters at the draw loop. Animated draw. And again, what I'm trying to do is I'm taking out these magic numbers so that we don't have to change anything in the draw loop. We're changing things at project scope. So frame rate. Oh no, this one's frame rate. So speed basically. How are we doing this? Main. See, my IntelliSense comes up. What did I name it? Was it like asset, frame, speed, or something like that? I can't remember. Animation speed. Lower bounds. Okay, lower bound index. Upper bound, animation upper range. That's a 1, so I make sure that's 1. Name upper. This. Excellent. So I'm eliminating those magic numbers. Same for the rects as well. I don't like that. But actually, I think I'm overriding this when I set my render list, and I'll test it. So I'll set it to 0. Because when but then that's not good because I'm passing this at draw core level. Unless if I'm initializing the new parameters after this line, this might not be good. I have to check that. Construct rect. I might need to check that. That's gonna be interesting. I'll leave it like that for now. Animation list, so I'm gonna have a parameter for this. This should be a list, and my command list, I should access my command list commands via lists. as well, list of indexes. So command list and animation indexes. Okay. Where's my main file? Animation members. I have command list. Like this. Mess up. List, because we might have multiple command lists, so we need multiple indexes, right? Render this indexes. Sorry, yeah. And what was the other one? Z-buffer. And these will be, I'll populate these at project scope. It's really a trade-off. Trading is like, how much of the work do I want? How much responsibility does Vanguard Engine take to like set these parameters? This is the kind of thing that, this is how it gets the deeper you go. And even though it's a small choice between, say, populating this via the library or like a project scope, it's something, it's worth considering how, not just what I'm coding, but how I'm coding. So what am I trying to say? When I go to animated draw, say, I know I want command list indexed at 0. I have a list of commands, I only want the first one, right? Do I use my data interface to set this value, or do I do that at project scope? I think it should be the data interface layer. For now, it makes the library more useful in my opinion. But then the trade-off, coding is always like trade-offs. The trade-off is that my library is a bit more bloated because I'm adding more features to the library for something that's quite simple as well, actually, as like just increasing an index, modifying an index. But is it worth making a method for that? Will people use my method, you know, rather than doing it manually? I will use the data interface. It's all about encapsulation and protection level, for now at least, you know, for now. And the learning curve of the library, it decreases the learning curve. So let's put it at the bottom. Let's say, I don't know, set command list. Oh, let's see. Is this redundant? Because now I'm thinking, if I want to set the value, I still need to add, let me see, command list. Oh, it's just one, isn't it? Because I have a list of 100 commands. I'm only using one at one time, right? Or maybe multiple. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. I'm taking things step by step, but I do want to use a data interface layer. If anything, it just makes my library does become more useful in that sense. So it's just returning an int. I'm just returning an int value. Again, this seems kind of like, oh, what's the point of me doing this? But at the end of the day, if I'm making my library more documentable, then I think that's a plus. And what's neat is that as long as I'm passing this function in different places, I can always set different indexes. That's pretty cool. So let me update my contract. So I'll go to my data interface, my actual interface class. Where's it gone? Data interface. I'm gonna update my contract. Put at the bottom. Like this, semicolon. Okay, my contract's updated. I'm gonna need some more elements here for my render list and my Z-buffer. They're all indexes. The Z-buffer is what we're really interested in right now. Let me have a look at that. How am I using my index again? So I know, make sure my naming convention is pretty cool. Z-buffer list. So yeah, Z-buffer element. We're accessing that here, 0. Okay, I'm starting to see how this goes. Oh, this is very fun. Okay. Command list. Where was I? I was on my contract. Z-buffer element focus. How's the render list being used? I need to double check that. My render list. Where's my other magic number index? Oh, it was. Oh, was it for render list or something? Animation. So I've done the command list one. I've limited that magic number. This magic number I'm dealing with. Animated resources. I need to deal with that. I haven't done that. I don't think I need anything for the render list right now. Why did I think I did? Should I go? Yeah. I need to make sprite sheet in focus and animation in focus, because each animation has its own set of parameters. I might animate Valkyrie different to animate a background object, you know? So let me go back to my data interface. Actually, better said, let me go to my main. Command list. I'm going to take out the render list one. Command list animation. Command list. And Z-buffer indexes. Animation. Excuse me, I think there was another thing there. Let me go back to my draw core. Oh, there's my canvas in my sprite sheet. I'm gonna move that underneath. Doesn't make a difference, but I like how it looks. Animation, indexes, animations. Actually, oh, let me see. Animation list. Do like that. Animation in focus. So I know I'm targeting an animation parameter particularly. Sprite sheets is for canvas bitmap. Sprite, sprite. Okay, so I have 4 lists of int indexes. Gotta put these in the right place. Let's see, go back to my contract. Z-buffer element. Set command and focus. Yep. I've not made a reference for that yet, have I? Set command. Oh right, I've done it up there. So I was just copy and pasting. Animation. Spreadsheet. Okay, so I did that one. These have no reference, so I'm gonna get my signature, make an implementation. You'll do the same thing. So turn in my index. Data interface. Get the signature. Return in my index. Finally, my last signature. Last signature for now. Paste this. Returning index. Excellent. Sweetness. So now I just need to call these methods in my project scope. Let me see. But before I call them in project scope, I need to set the functions. The functions themselves. Oh wait, hold on. I need to set the parameters that are being changed here, and then the parameters can be changed by default before the draw call loads. So this is for the Z, but I'm setting the Z buffer parameters. So Z buffer in focus. Z buffer list index. I think it's this one. I can give this a better name. Z buffer list indexes. It's just like a list of indexes. I should say like Z buffer in focus. Doing that wrong. Call the function well. Okay, maybe I need a property because it's a get set notion that I need. The setting. Oh goodness me. Okay, cool. Let me go back here. And the naming convention is not good because I'm saying set, but I'm returning. So let me see. That's interesting. Oh, okay, cool. Set the command, set these at project scope, and the actual oh my gosh, the actual parameters need to be used in global scope. Let me see. And the global scope is in main, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, cool. So make sure I'm doing this right. Let's start one by one to make this as uncomplicated as possible. What I'm doing here. So command list indexes. Populate this at project scope, and I set the values in project scope. So if I go back, if I copy this, so I got a reference. Oh my gosh, come on, Visual Studio. Okay, I have to wait. I have to avoid right clicking because like right clicking just like slows my computer down. Yeah, it just is what it is. Okay, go back to my data specification. I just don't want to overcomplicate this. I know I could do this in just one line of code per se, but I really want these methods set out. Is the principle that I'm trying to. This could be like 100 lines more complex, but that's the idea. It's the principle I'm trying to set. So set command in focus. I don't like that name. Oh no, that's fine. Set command in focus. Oh, okay, so I'm doing that so wrong. I'm gonna try something. So if I have 10 commands, I want to target index, say the second command. I guess I could return the holders. I know I'm overcomplicating this, but I'll get there. Oh my days, why am I complicating this, guys? I'm gonna laugh at this one doing because I make it so overcomplicated. Now this number needs to be dynamic, and it is indeed. Anyway, as long as it works, man. I think I overcomplicated this greatly, but it's fine. Oh yeah, I really overcomplicated this. Well, let me see if this goes through. What is it? Is it mean? Let me draw. Where's it gone? So I'll keep it like this for now. I don't really like what I did, but I'm gonna keep it that way. Sweetness. Anyway, it's probably a level of simplicity I can add to this, but I'm gonna keep it like this. These are just indexes now. What's the difference between this and that? Forget it, I'm just gonna keep it like this now, I don't care. As long as I can change these project scope, that's the main thing I tested out. I just don't want so many parameters. So wrong answer. Sorry guys, complicating things. I'm complicating things here. That works. Oh, okay, I got it now. Sorry guys, I really just went off on a tangent. Z-buffer. Z-buffer elements. Focus, oh gosh. Let's do that. Where's the element one? Let's move that. Such a simple thing, it doesn't matter. Is that Sonic song? Anyway, whatever. If you're into Sonic music, what is it? Sonic Heroes? I just reminded myself of like Team Sonic's main theme. I love it. I used to be such a Sonic fanboy, man. I've even floated there. I floated about, like, you know, on the channel that I might make a Sonic fan game. Maybe I will do it. I'm just scared about copyright, you know. These are elements. Let me just unmagic this number. So what I was doing with like the data interface was just an extra layer of complexity. Anyway, I can still use the concept for other things that are a bit more complicated than just setting an index. But for now it's fine. Is it animation? Animation in focus. Animator resources. Sprite sheet in focus. I've already named something that haven't I? To be more precise, I guess it's canvas bitmap as well. This needs to be changed, but I'm not going to do that because I have to change the implementation stuff. I don't do that. So I'll just be more technical. Say canvas bitmap listing focus. Okay, I've taken care of most of the magic numbers. This might be redundant because I might be setting the parameters later, so I'm going to keep it like that for now, test it. So yeah, I'm trying to make this as my draw logic. It has to be general purpose, otherwise we have to dive into the logic here to change things. We don't want to do that. XY, is it XY width height? Anyway, I don't like keeping that at 0. What I'll do instead of keeping it at 0, oh my gosh, I'd like to get to this. So I construct a new rect, return it, generate this, let this add. Ah, okay, I see. Yeah, these magics shouldn't be numbered. These numbers should be magic. X, Y, width and height. X, Y, height. I'm gonna keep this as just indexes. As I get more complicated, I will update this. But for now, let's just say, because we're going to have multiple rec bounds, so they have to be in a list. Oh my gosh, I know. For now, I'm just going to do it like this. Excellent. I'm assuming I have one command list. I gotta make sure things are working correctly here. We're gonna take things one step at a time. Let's make a rep bounce. Okay, my Z buffer. Okay, this is fine for now. I don't want to overthink things. If I try and consider too many parameters at once, I'm going to overcomplicate what I'm writing here. Make it 500. Here, this is a default value for my render list. I could even set this to 0 because I'm overriding it with 200 and 500. But that doesn't make sense. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna test something. 200 by 400, 700. Which one comes out first? Because it has to be dynamic. I like this approach is better, because it's more dynamic, so we're going to just test things out, guys. I'm just going one step at a time here, because I don't want to trip over myself. Once I confirm I haven't broken the program, I haven't broken the animation routine, I want to then have multiple sprite objects. So I want to make my Z buffer can dynamically allocate, say, the background and my MC, my main player agent assets on the screen as two separate things. So let me just watch the build. It's approaching 1 hour and a half. I'm just waiting for UWP to load. I just hit start, so I'm just waiting for UWP to load. Check my dashboard. UWP takes a minute. Excellent. I'm not sure my YouTube studio is so behind. It's okay, I'm just waiting for Visual Studio. It's taking a minute, it's about halfway. Okay, so let me reply to some comments. So what technologies am I using for the project? Yeah, I'm just laughing at the last comment there, so I'll address both the comments. So what technologies? Just C#, Visual Studio. I'm using Visual Studio for the IDE, my integrated development environment. Sorry guys, hold on. I had to delete these. This is from what I did before, like it just doesn't make sense what I was even trying to do. I've got errors. So I'm using Visual Studio for the development environment, using C# for the programming language. Okay, the last question was asking why am I coding an engine from scratch? Yeah, we live in the AI age. Yeah, some of us kind of like were coding before that. The way that's the TLDR. So it's like why fix what's not broken with regards to coding, right? That's the TLDR answer. To go a level deeper than that, why am I programming an engine altogether? I mean, I like the challenge. I like to challenge myself. So I use the term engine lightly. It's just a class library that is I'm utilizing a class library that is leveraging Win2D library. On this, my interface not matching. Oh yeah, this set command and focus. Get rid of that. Don't need it. So in essence, what I'm doing is really simple. I'm just building a package. I'm building a library. And as to why, I think some of us still want to code because it's like a lot of the AI technologies we rely on these days, at the fundamental level of it, there is technical coding going on behind the scenes. You know, at a higher level of abstraction, the AI is doing the work to build these interactive game scenes. I can write a prompt, please one-shot a tic-tac-toe game, and you get that. But what's actually happening at a deeper level of engineering is the code, is the functionality that builds that. And I think it's worth learning. If you want to get into AI even, I would basically approach the fundamentals of programming, OOP practice, you know, because look at what's going on. Just a few years ago, we were concerned at the prompt level, right? Everyone wanted to be prompt developers. People wanted to be prompt developers. But now people want more technicality than that. People want more control. Especially when we live in an age where an AI model, the plug we can get rug pulled on any AI model. Just look at, I don't want to make this political, but with the news that's been going on with like Anthropic and Fable 5 getting rug pulled, a lot of people are building businesses on that Fable 5 or anticipating businesses on Fable 5. And if you're just a prompt developer and you relied on that AI technology, it just got rug pulled. So what do, man? Like, you got nothing, you got no plan B. But if you know how to code from the ground up, you have an edge. Because you don't need to rely on the sandbox that is these AI vendors per se. You can go to the nuts and bolts, use the libraries. You can build your own model if you want to. You can build your own sandbox if you want to, but you gotta know how to code to do that. You know, you gotta know how to code if you want to go that low level. Not everyone has the desire to do that, but some of us do have that level of desire. That's why I'm doing what I do. You know, it's for the challenge, for the thrill. Anyway, let's see. I think I have one more error. And you know what? It's notwithstanding the fact that I do code that I may use AI. Like, you know, I use AI on a sort of regular basis. I use AI search for a lot of different topics, from coding to natural language like Japanese and English, or Japanese really. So I am looking at the AI space. I'm looking at what's going on, and I'm not just like, oh, I'm a traditional developer only. I'm a developer. I'm an engineer. So I look at the tools available and I merge them. I'm even looking, and I'm not going to talk too much about this, but in subsequent workshops, in future series, I want to start looking at merging the two worlds of like AI tools, AI tool sets with like traditional tool sets. How we can get the best of both worlds. That is literally something I'm road mapping kind of very roughly for the future. Don't want to talk too much about that because the reveals will happen as and when appropriate. But yeah. I thought that was two really good questions actually. Thanks guys for the really good questions. So it's good that I addressed that. I always flop that. Sorry guys. I'm trying to navigate off screen. I'm always pressing the wrong window. Wait for UWP to load. Hello, I'm new to programming. Can you tell me what language to follow as starting? I'm really confused. I start C++. Yeah, good question. So, it depends what you want to do. So if you want to program in 3D, you have options, right? If you want to program from scratch, you're going to need, and this is 3D games, you're going to need to know C++. Because you're probably going to be using either DirectX API libraries or OpenGL libraries to build your 3D worlds. That's like really nuts and bolts bare metal kind of approach. Or you can use engines like Unity Engine, you can use Unreal Engine, you can use Godot. These tools are great if, again, you're a beginner and you want a more of a visual interpretation of your world. So what do I mean? Drag and drop interfaces, folder structures all taken care of, all that good stuff. I would heavily recommend something like Unity for that, or Unreal Engine. But obviously, Unreal Engine also relies on C++, and Blueprints is going to get rug pulled in the future. We all know that because Unreal basically told us they're getting rid of Blueprints in the future. What does this mean? We need to rely on some tools. The fundamentals aren't going away. So I believe Unreal supports C++ scripting. So even as a engine user, as a user of an editor layer, if you're using Unity, you want to know C#, because you can make your own custom scripts using C# in the mono environment, I believe. If you use Unreal Engine, you're going to want to know C++ just in case you want to make custom scripts using C++. I'm not too sure about Blueprints. That's like their visual node scripting approach, because apparently Unreal are pulling the plug on Blueprints. So there's those two approaches. If you want to dive into the world of building, then you're gonna want to approach from an AI utilization perspective, where AI offloads a lot of the heavy lifting. If you want that, then you can try some models that are, do your research on some AI models that are good for that. I don't really know which ones are the best. I've not done too much research into that. But I have seen some videos of people like one-shotting some games using AI. Obviously, the trade-off is that you get like a very fast rate of return for what you want, but a very low level of flexibility and customization. It just is what it is. But if you go the more traditional route, you have a high level of customability, but a longer turnaround rate, right? That's why games take years to develop, and they still take years to develop, because these tools aren't going anywhere, and companies know this. Even with AI being implemented, the fundamental tools are not going anywhere, because they're needed, they're necessary. I'm not sure if I broke my scene. I'm gonna check it now. Let's see what happens. Wow. Yeah, so I didn't break the scene, fortunately. I say fortunately I didn't break the scene. And I got rid of magic numbers. I still got Valkyrie up here, which is cool. Some performance issues as I'm scaling the screen, but one thing I did want to test is what bounds I'm utilizing. She's like stuttering a little bit. I need to look into what's going on though. Might be some initialization issues with that. And she's not responsive to the scaling of the screen. I need to look into that as well. I'll probably have to put the viewport in like a viewbox or something, because the viewbox should take care of the scaling. But this is height 700 pixels. So that means that this doesn't particularly matter too much as what I'm using in the main. Interesting. Okay, that's fine. Let me put some more appropriate values here. Double check my draw core. Oh, I was gonna slow down the animation speed. It's like running at maximum or something. Animation speed. Let's slow her down. Let's make it like 4 frames of animation per draw core, or better said, 4 draw cores of the same animation, right? So she's gonna look a little less stuttery. She's gonna move a little slower. Let's try it out. Make sure that this parameter is working. While I'm waiting, I'm going to start importing some more sprites. So I'm going to work off screen a little bit. I want to build like a little scene with a background and a foreground element. And obviously we're going to start creating some more elements to sort of like really define what the objects are on the scene itself. You know, how do we control Valkyrie, our MC player, across some constraints that simulate physics for a 2D game, stuff like that. That's where we start getting into like the mechanics of the world itself, how we're building that using the library. But right now I'm off screen and I'm waiting for UWP to load. While I'm waiting, off screen, I'm gonna just import some more assets. I'm gonna use the same folder. Actually, no, I'm not gonna use the same folder. I'm going to use a different folder. Getting some notifications. Sorry for that, guys. I just snapped to my view there because I was looking at my tablet. Where are my backgrounds? Animation folder? I don't even know what I'm looking for. Let's see. What's winter? Looking for some background assets so it looks a bit nicer. While I'm waiting for UWP to load over there. Okay, UWP is loaded. I'll just wait for the solution, my project to load properly. So it's kind of hanging a bit. Excellent. So now she looks a bit better. I slow down her animation, so it's 4 frames, 4 draw cores for every frame. So she's a lot more, her animation looks a lot smoother now. And yeah, she is also, I reduce her dimensions. You know, I don't know, it's like, I'll be a step happier, closer to the ideal of Vanguard, when levels can be designed with such ease that there's just that friction you get when you're coding a base is just eliminated for level design. We will get there, but for now the friction of designing levels and worlds still exists this way. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick break. I'm going to be back in about 2 to 5 minutes, okay? Let me just switch screens. The splash screen is going to say that the stream is like on standby or something, but I'm just taking a quick break. Let me just set it now. Just off screen. Maybe it's a little laggy. Sorry guys, give me 1 minute of time. Alright guys, I shall be back. Sorry for that break, guys. I apologize for the break, but I'm back, is what I'm trying to say. Let me just... Alright, excellent. So, I'm back from my little interlude. So let's get straight into things. Make sure my levels are okay. Excellent, sweetness. So what are we doing now? So building scenes with multiple assets on the screen. Let's go. Let's see what happens. So what am I doing when I'm building this scene? Everything pertaining to my scene is dictated by this function. But when we have different scenes, we're going to probably have different functions. So again, this is like stage 1. Like let's say I'm making level 1. It's all going to be here in this function, and when I have build scene 2, level 2 say, it's going to have a whole set of different constraints. So that's one way you can consider the way I'm using my draw core. So I didn't find, I found the folder offline, off screen actually. See if I find a background. It might not make too much sense, just like an arbitrary background. I found a nice one actually. Something simple, like a grass texture or something. I want my background to make sense, but I don't have to overthink it. Let me use a grass texture, pixelated one, because I like pixel art sometimes. Let's see if I can grab one. JPEG, PNG. Let's use the PNG grass pixel. Now I'll make a new folder for it, and we'll try and import our texture on screen. So I'm just off screen, just setting some of my folder structure. Let's see. Vanguard, this is the project scope. Debug, net point 9.0. Assets. I'm going to make a backgrounds folder. grass texture that I'm going to use. Unexpected error. Try again. Oh, that's weird. Am I using this directory somewhere? Hold on guys, let me try and fix this. I think my directory might still be active somehow, even though my project is not, my UWP project's not running per se. Pictures. Let me try a different picture then. Let's use, okay, I got a nice one here. I'm not sure who made this asset. I probably got it randomly from the internet, this picture. We'll try and use a new background, so just waiting for my Solution Explorer to comply with me. Copy, Vanguard. If that directory issue happens again, it's probably because I'm utilizing this folder path somewhere. Somewhere my folder path's probably still active, I don't know why. But that doesn't make sense because I made a new folder just now. What's going on? The cloud file provider is not running. Oh, okay, so this is on my OneDrive, I think, and I'm offline, so I have to download the file. Make sure the file's actually downloaded, or I just quickly download the picture, a placeholder from the internet. My asset folder. Is there an option for me to download my picture? Let me see if there is. Should be. Sorry about this, guys. Okay, I'm gonna have to find something quickly on the internet and download it. Basically, I have like a whole folder that's like on my OneDrive, and because it's offline, it's not synced. I can't access the picture right now, so it's a strange, it's super strange to me. I think that's what's going on. So let me quickly just open my browser and just get like a random picture of like CraftPix or Pinterest or something. It's on my documents, so it's my documents file structure. It's on my OneDrive, and there's a little like cloud icon that's showing I'm offline. So let me just quickly get like a background, something nice. Obviously, if I'm making a game, I'll probably, you know, loosely speaking, have my own assets. But it's funny because in this AI age, like, you can just generate assets. That's one thing I want to give AI credit for, is like making graphical assets is so easy. But as how people feel about that is divided in the community, in the gaming community. Obviously, some people are against or for it. I don't think these AI tools are going anywhere soon. So it depends how you use it, and isn't it? So let's have a really simple background. Grassy plain pixel background. I could even generate one using AI. I could do that. I could do that now, actually. I could copy and paste it. I found a nice one on itch.io. Hopefully the license is free. I don't know. Getting messages. I'll try and credit. Oh, it's a GIF. Okay, I don't want to use a GIF. I want to use it as a still image. There's a nice one off Pinterest. Let me try this Pinterest picture. Can I save it as a PNG? I don't want to have to go through my paint.net for that. Bear with me, guys. Goodness me, it's taking a minute. a lot of these pictures are JPEGs. I just want to find a quick and easy PNG to work with. I could convert it on paint.net, but my app will take too long to load. Ooh, grassy plain pixel background. Let's go for like a tile based one. So like tile. Worst case, I'm gonna just use AI for this. Where is my other window? Guys, let's take advantage of what's going on. Let's try and generate an AI picture. I don't know if, because I use Copilot, I don't know if Copilot still has the simple image generation feature. But I might go ahead and try and generate one. So let's say I just need a quick and easy placeholder sprite. Let's see if I can make one now. I know they have the Imagine tab. I don't want to like open it. It's just so long to do these things. It used to be off the main chat, but I think I might have to use Imagine tab. But let me just try and generate one now. Draw simple. Legend of Zelda style grassy plain map pixel art format. Nintendo, don't come after me, please. Let me see if it comes up in here or if I use the Imagine tab. I have to confirm with a human being. I'll just wait for Copilot app to just for this little verification bit. Verify I'm a human being. Is it going to generate here, or do I have to go to Imagine? I don't know. What I like about Copilot, I'm probably like one of the dozen people, one of the 6, 12, 20 people that use Copilot. But it does what I need. Let's see if I need to do it. Oh, this looks quite nice. Okay, it's coming along. We'll wait for this image to generate. So, because I'm not gonna sit here and like draw right now. Okay, here's my Zelda. Obviously, this was just a one-shot simple prompt. My Zelda grassy plain map is ready. I quite like it, so let's download this. Excellent. And it's a PNG. Thank you, AI search. Okay, sweet. Alright, I'm gonna just rename my file. I'm off screen. I'm gonna rename my file. First, I'm gonna copy it to my backgrounds. Hopefully, I don't get that folder structure error. Because I shouldn't be on OneDrive right now. I will check. Vanguard. I'll go to my assets directory. Oops, I'm in the wrong directory. I have to go through here. My x86 folder first. Assets and backgrounds. Yeah, guys, what do you want to see? Do you want to see a 2D kind of like RPG fighting game kind of thing, or do you want to see like a Legend of Zelda style RPG? Depending on if people kind of want the Legend of Zelda top down, I'll make more of that. I think the top downs are quite charming. And then because now I'm getting to the stage where I want to kind of flesh out the look and feel of my game. So what do you guys want? Do you want the 2D side view, or do you want the top down view? Let me know. Now, as with my Valkyrie sprites, I named them like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to name this 0.png. It's in a different folder, so it shouldn't interfere with my Valkyrie sprites. And I didn't get the error. I'm quite happy about that. So now I need to tell Vanguard, or I need to tell my project really, my UWP game, that there's a background here stored in this background folder, and I want to render it. I want to draw my background on screen behind Valkyrie. So let's try and do that. There's a lot of glare coming in, man. I need to like close my window. Not close the window, I need to draw the blinds because like there's a lot of glare hitting my eyes. Where am I? yeah, so first things first, set folder path. This is what I'm talking about. So because I have, hold on, what am I doing here? Am I setting one folder path? Let me see what the implementation is doing. Main folder path. Oh, so it's just one random file path, folder path, better said. Okay. Okay, I like it. Let's make this more general purpose though. Let me get my folder path for my background picture. Oops, I don't need to click it. Grab this. Control C, copy. This is one variable. Populate. Let me see what populate folder path is doing. I might be able to use this. Oh, goodness, I'm just gonna this interface. Populate folder path list. Oh, okay, so okay, am I adding as well? Let me check. Adding the folder path. And is that folder path what I set in the main, or is it just pass, just generally? Where's my main? Oh, okay, so I'm using my variable. That's cool. I could make this more dynamic, but I'm not going to do that right now because I don't want to complicate myself. I don't want to get complicated. No, I don't want to confuse myself. Sorry, guys. When you're learning, like, I don't know, Japanese, like sometimes your English suffers a little bit, just generally speaking. So this is populating the folder path. So I'm going to update the folder path and I'm going to populate my list. So instead of Valkyrie, I'm going to go for backgrounds. Oops. There's obviously more dynamic ways I can do this, but I'm going to just keep things quite simple for now at this level. Off screen, I'll work on the tough stuff for now, just for time's sake. But here, I'll make things kind of straightforward. So now my variable for my folder path has been updated for my backgrounds, and now I'm updating my list. Cool. I might want to consider putting this on the other function, but I'm not going to do that right now. I want to consider putting it here. But this is a resource to load. I guess it has to be in at this stage of my pipeline. Asset range. There will be multiple asset ranges. Okay, how am I going to distinguish between the asset ranges? 6 for Valkyrie, 1 for my background. That's why I need a list. That's what I was trying to do. Okay, cool. So a lot of some of the heavy lifting has been done at project scope, and then once I identify what to offload to my library, I'll do so. So adding indexes. I'll deal with this in project scope from now. Sorry guys, I need to draw this code in. It's so much better right now. Where was I? So set my folder paths, asset range, set the number of assets. What's the name of my list? Who's this one? I want to add 2 indexes, so gotta make sure I'm doing this right. I'm just gonna, oh my gosh, magic numbers everywhere. Okay. Oh, why is it still here? This one. Background. Guys, I'm really enjoying using AI to build graphical assets as someone like myself who, on my ratio to technical skill sets and like art, like you know, I think the technical side of my skill set is a bit more ahead. So to save time, I might have some fun in these streams, creating some really simple art assets. I'm gonna do more of that. Valkyrie standing animation frame count, background, image, background, frame. Let's do this. Okay. So I need to make sure I'm using these, referencing these indexes at the appropriate place at the right time. Okay, so I'll copy this. So if I go back to my animated draw, my my animated resources, the way I load the resources, I have to kind of change it a little bit now. I need to accommodate for different, multiple sprite shoots. So I need to update my constraints and make sure my constraints are dynamic. Just taking a while. A little bit from file sequence. It's not this one. Oh, is it? Oh, maybe it is. Where am I loading from file paths? I think it's here. So adding the PNGs. So I need to look at these constraints. For loop, index, for loop, folder range. This is what I was doing before. It keeps freezing on me a little bit. So it's the number of characters needed to load. Did I set that as 6 before? Oh, it was asset range as 6. Folder range needs to be 2. Where's animated resources? I can't see it. So I think I'm using my a function to deal with this through my data interface, so to make sure I got it right. Just make for Visual Studio. Okay. folder. Oh, was it folder range? Let's see, where am I using folder range here potentially? There it is. So set folder range. Oh, okay. I'm not using this yet. So it's a default value of 0. What the hell? That's interesting. I thought I would be using this. Maybe the reference is just not updated. Let me check. Okay, that's interesting. Just waiting for Visual Studio, guys. Sorry. It's just really laggy. Where am I? For the part list. Just be a little patient. There's a lot going in the background of my computer. Folder. I'll probably wrap up the stream soon, especially seeing as my Visual Studios are really laggy all of a sudden. But I want to just get this down at least. I want to load my background. So now go to my implementation layer. Not too sure why I'm lagging so far. Update my signature. Or rather update my implementation. So my target folder account. And name. Animated resources. What was it? Folder asset or something? Folder range, that was it. Okay, so now we have access to our models domain at public scope. So now that we're changing that, we can change this anytime we want. I'm gonna look back to my animated resources class. How am I using that range again? My animated resources. And get rid of this breakpoint. Folder path. So now I'm going to set that to 2 soon. Index asset 0 index count. This is just a variable. IntelliSense is not coming out. Okay. Let's see if that's either into our list. Okay, just a second. Let me go back to here. folder. Okay, that's done. I understand what I'm doing now. I've already made the list. Like, it seems I was already considering what I'm considering regarding my animation routine, my asset routine. I have a list of int, which is an asset zero index count. Doesn't seem like I'm using this. Am I using this? I'm right clicking, it's just taking a while. I want to just check my references. Why did I right click? Okay, Visual Studio. Just wait for Visual Studio to update. In case any of you are curious, on any typical modern computer, Visual Studio won't take this long. Like, literally, this is happening because of just like my computer's really old. I don't want to share the specs. It's just a box standard kind of older generation laptop, so this should take seconds. Unfortunately, it's taking a bit longer. I don't know why. Well, I'll just explain why. Dear. I'm gonna wrap up the stream soon. I think it's over 2 hours now. Oh my days, okay, I'm gonna do this manually. Eyeball it. I feel like I'm using that. No. Doesn't seem like I am, okay. In that case, I can populate this. Asset zero index countless. Goodness me, I'm utilizing the data interface a lot now. I have to, it has to be done. I can't get lazy. I'm gonna make this public, not internal. Internal is fine because I'm within this namescape scope of my Vanguard core, but I'm gonna say public for now. Public void, what's the name? I'll put it in my asset zero index count list. I'm gonna call the add function on my list. The index that I pass on my data interface, or rather my count. I guess it's in, whatever, it doesn't really matter why. Like, say count on which is fine. Interface there. Keep it at the top. So single responsibility principle would tell me keep this function with one responsibility, but I I also want to not just call add. Oh wait, hold on a second, guys. It's not right. Oh yeah, add count. Because you could say I'm obviously adding and assigning a value, but these two actions kind of blend into one kind of concept. That's what I was a bit worried about just now. So, and besides, you know, Solid is just there to help build better applications. It's not like set in stone. Anyway, so when I add, it's the count of the assets, and in my case it's 2. It's my background and Valkyrie set. Okay, excellent. So now I'm gonna just get the signature of my method. I'll pop it for the far part. I'm gonna call this from my project scope. Animate resources. This one. Have I updated the routine yet? Oh yeah, I was in the wrong function. Okay. I'm not 100% sure. Must proceed with caution. To the point, I'm just gonna make a reference of that index. Everything's working here so far for what I'm doing, but just in case I break something, I want to remember what I need. I'll use the disqualifications just so I know what's going on. Populate asset, 0 index, count list. And the index I'm using would be index, right? Excuse me guys, because it's 2. The count is 2. Valkyrie in my background, so it's all dynamically, I'm dynamically generating my assets. Oh right, sorry. What's the name of my list? This is the list. Not the method, I need the list. That's better. Okay, I have to proceed with caution. I don't want to break what's already fixed. Okay, so I've updated that. Now I need to look at my bitmap generation routine. I think this remains the same. So file pathways. Yeah, because the count will update, so the index will update, if I'm not mistaken. Right, so I'm going to go back to my project scope. I'm going to test this, I'm going to run the program. Background folder, this, set target folder down. Same with my comment. but I'm not done yet because now I have to go to my draw core and make sure everything's consistent. See buffer count. That's the wrong one. The battery on my tablet for my camera is getting low, so I will have to wrap up the stream soon. I'm gonna look at my percentage. Okay. Time. Wow, 2 hours and a half. Okay. I don't mind the time too much, but it's just that my battery is low on my device, on my tablet. Get the scene up and running quickly. Might as well have two command lists, because the command lists, so far my command lists are dictating animation. Two render lists. Gosh, the same size. I have to deal with this one. Actually, that's, yeah. Rect. A rectangle. Hold up. Set parameters for my rect. Nah, do it. Yeah, why not? I want my background to load first, so maybe like 900 width. I'll use XY as placeholders. Let's see width by height. 200. Okay, so dimensions, arc dimensions. Put the background in 0, 0. X value can be 0 as well. Put her, float her down to like 100. What's the name of my rect account? Are these the vector parameters? What am I doing? That is a vector too. Vector 4. Okay, that's weird. I'll just stick to vector 2 then. now this will do. Okay, let's see buffer. Don't know what's going to happen. I'm not sure if I drew the scene correctly. I've got to draw correctly. Okay, I'm going to test this script. I'm not sure if things are consistent here. Let's see if I got any functional issues. Okay guys, I'm gonna wrap up the stream soon. Let me just check the chat. Load up UWP and then I'll wrap up the stream. Where am I? Thank you. Hey there. So hello Felix, and thank you podcast. I appreciate that. Okay. Just waiting for UWP to load. Hopefully, if we have the scene loaded, that's good news. Then I'll wrap up the stream after. I'll wrap up straight away. If I don't have the scene loaded up, I'll quickly debug or whatever, and then probably wrap up the stream. Let me just quickly check my battery. I'll be a battery left. Just have to wait for UWP. So hopefully we should have that grassy background, and we should also have Valkyrie loaded, both animating at different speeds. Obviously with the background just one image, Valkyrie is 6 frames. We'll see what happens, I'm not too sure. Hopefully I'm rendering her in order. I'm going to animate draw quickly. So for the count I have 2 Z buffer counts, I have like 2 elements, my background, so this will loop twice. Command list, yep, that's loading dynamically. Animations, ooh, I didn't set animation constraints properly. Animation speed is fixed as well, I need to check that out. I haven't instantiated the animation constraints for the background, so might have some issues with the background. What did I animation is? Let's see, animated resources. I'm looking for get asset from asset list. Add animation to list. It's probably this one I need. New animation. So I'm going to need another method here for setting the actual animation list parameters. I'm using animation again. That needs to be this as well. For now it's fine. I could even use my index. Depends how I structure this. I think in the next episode, what I'll do, I'm also going to spend time off screen, like creating an illustration of the data flow and the structure of some of these subroutines. Because now where I see all the code, it does get kind of like, it's a lot to process for some of the more complex routines. I'm going to try and draw it out on my sketchboard, but I'll try and do that off screen so it's ready for next, the pictures are ready for the next stream. Because it's quite hard to illustrate what's happening, I need to actually really look at what's going on. Either I can use UML or some kind of UMLS style, or I'll just literally sketch on my sketchboard, my digital sketchboard. Let me see. I'm not going to do it now though, that's for like next stream. A bit worried about the animation part. Upper bounds. That has to be a list as well, I didn't finish it. Yeah, that has to be a list. Otherwise it's not going to animate properly. A lot of this is hard-coded, yeah, okay, that's fine. Goodness. Yeah, I'll round up the stream after this. It's just taking so long. It's about halfway in my UWP. Here we go. And I'll work off screen and then get things ready for the next workshop. It's taking too long. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. I'll prepare things for the next stream. I'll reset the laptop, everything. It'll be a lot faster later. Okay, some lift up. Not too sure if we'll have a legitimate scene. Might have some exceptions as well because I added code, so we'll see what happens. I'll just give UWP a few seconds here. Should load soon. Goodness me. Quite surprised it's taken a minute. I'll give this like a minute or two, guys. If it doesn't load, I'm just gonna close the stream. So yeah, while I'm waiting for that, I'll quickly just open my browser. If UWP still hasn't loaded by the time I finish my little chat session here, then I'm gonna just literally close the stream and we'll resume next time. Okay, so a bit of housekeeping. Feel free, guys, to join my Learn CSharp Masterclass. Link will be in the description. If you want to learn CSharp from the bottom up, from these up, you can register your interest. I'll send an email so we can kind of get to know what you want to do, what you want to get out of the course, and yeah, where you'd like to be with .NET C#. My whole laptop is taking a while to load that page. Also, visit my CSharp snippet store if you want to see some of the fun stuff that I'm building. I'm going to take the store, I'm not going to take the store offline, but I am going to probably overhaul the store a little bit. I want to update it. I haven't updated the page in a while, so there might be a time where I take the page offline, in a sense, where it's like I'm constructing the page again, so I can just update some of the store SKUs and maybe add some new articles, like for Atarashi Studios, for my game development project, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna cut the stream soon, guys. This is taking quite a while, so I'm gonna go off screen. Can I minimize this? No? Yes? There we go. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. I'm really wrestling with my computer. Let's see what happens. I'm just testing to make sure everything's like not lagging too much. I lost focus to the button. There we go. Focus. In and out focus. Okay. I don't know if it's gonna load. Yeah, so software is obviously not correct with my draw logic. As you can see, there's neither Valkyrie or my scene is loading. But this is what I expected. You know, I just coded straight on ahead, and I have yet to debug. But we've run out of time, so I'm gonna do the debug in the next episode. So guys, next episode I'm gonna continue making the library more dynamic, taking out those magic numbers so that we can fully flesh our scenes, our project scope. Already got the groundwork set, as you can see, as I'm just updating some of the parameters so that things are more dynamic. I obviously broke the routine a little bit, so we're going to sort that out in the next episode, but I'm going to work through that off screen, and then we shall continue in the next workshop. So I'm just going to quickly go to my browser so I can just conclude the stream. Thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in. Hey there, I see you there, Youth. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. Hello, welcome to the stream. I'm about to close the stream. So everyone, stay safe and have a good day. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye bye.